Hi, I'm Tim Scales, the Director of the Center for Entrepreneurship and the Center for Economic Education here at Indiana University East.
It's my pleasure to introduce you to another episode of In Your Business.
We talk to local entrepreneurs, we learn about their business, we learn about why they started their business, how they started their business, some of the opportunities their businesses has provided them and their community, as well as some of the hurdles they've gone through, some of the challenges. Welcome to another episode of In Your Business. Today we're going to meet with a pair of entrepreneurs that are from the Cambridge City area. Their entrepreneurship is very unique in the fact that it's been a lifetime of entrepreneurship. A lot of times I get a hold of somebody right out of college and I say, what are you going to do? They say, I'm going to get into entrepreneurship. But I think Steve started when he was 10 years old. And so certainly he didn't know how to spell entrepreneurship, nor did he know he was practicing entrepreneurship. But today he's made a great success out of it. He and his wife, Linda, thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
And what I'd like to do is get to know you a bit. We'll get to know about the business, find out about how you started the business, where you're at, what your plans are. But first, let's start with getting to know you.
Okay.
And Steve, I've already given a hint that you've grown up as an entrepreneur. So,
well, my family's been in the landscape business for a long time. They started, the history goes in 1888, my great-great-grandfather started a business. And he sold apple trees off of a wagon around Pershing, Indiana. And then it went to my great-grandfather, whose name was Milton Garr, and that's how Garr Nurseries was started. He had a daughter named Aletha, and it was my grandmother, and it went down from there. We've just been in the landscape business in Wayne, Henry, and Fayette counties. I've never known when we were in landscape business, so it's been very interesting.
that is, I mean, to have it that long in the family, the nursery business, I mean, in the landscaping business, I mean, you guys, it's incredible. And my first home, I had you landscape. My recent home, the one I have now, you've also landscaped. Do a beautiful job.
Thank you.
But the most important thing is knowing your product, being passionate about your product. And I know the first time you ever said to me, this is coming out and we'll replace it with something else, I wasn't sure because I like it. You know, I kind of liked what was there and I thought, I hope he's right. You were right.
Well, I hope I was right too, but a lot of times what's fun is to create a garden around the house. Sometimes the trees become more mature as they get older, and sometimes they can be the focal point of the whole landscaping. So that's what you start off, and it's easier to trim things up instead of cutting them completely down and starting from scratch.
Sure.
So it's sometimes worth a shot to make the old stuff look new or usable again.
So I feel like you grew up then in Brower Nursery, and today you and your wife have Brower Gardens. And I think that is so neat. And on the sign that you used for the garden, it's natural.
We like to use natural as much as possible, meaning I don't like a lot of plastic products. I'll put plastic edging in for you if you make me, but you almost have to make me because there's so many other options. Boulders, rocks, things that are natural, things that some people may not think they would want to use. So they help retain soil, and you can stack rocks, you can do anything with them. So it makes it fun that way.
Sure, I can tell you enjoy it. But let's also go back and talk about your educational background.
Okay.
What did you think? When you were a little boy, did you think, okay, I'm going to stay with the gardening?
I think when my grandmother or someone made a decision that we should be hoeing weeds, so all the Brower boys at 10 years old, or I think it was 10, could have been 8, could have been somewhere along that line, we were put out in the fields with the men to hoe weeds. I think it was more of a learning lesson than anything, and a way to understand what was going on.
Okay.
As we got older, each one of us owned our own little business. We went and did some trimming. We had our own pickup trucks. And then we went back into the family business, which was Garr Nurseries. That went out of business in 2008.
Okay.
So after that, we kept going after that. I went to school at Vincennes for 2 years and continued in the family business after that.
So at Vincennes, what did you study?
I studied horticulture, floriculture, and turf management.
Okay, so you knew you were going to pretty much stay in the same business.
I knew that I was maybe at that
Okay.
time. I didn't know,
Okay,
but
all right.
I wanted to make sure that I had that background out of my way,
Uh-huh.
and that I could move on from there.
Great. Well, it's interesting to hear the changes that have gone through the family and how you started where you're at now,
Mm-hmm.
because that's so entrepreneurial. Change happens, okay?
Absolutely.
And when people meet with me, I always know there are business owners, there are managers, and there's entrepreneurs. I can buy a business. That just takes cash.
Mm-hmm.
I can manage a business. That's a profession. But I can be an entrepreneur, which means I'm going to be changing, which means I may have this business today, I may have a totally different name on the business 5 years from now. I may be doing something totally different 5 years from now. But entrepreneurs make changes as they go, and you've done that. So great. Linda, I want to get to know you. What's your background?
Primarily culinary, and I stayed home with the kids when they were little.
So what do you like about culinary?
Well, I really liked the herbs and using as many fresh things as possible. And so the gardening part of it, I was very interested in, though I didn't pursue that in any type of formal education. I just kind of messed around outside with Steve and our own property.
Okay. Do you find yourself putting gardens into landscaping then?
I think that's, you mean like herbs and things?
Yes.
It's more for the individual. They kind of do their own type of herbs, but we set it up so that they can do that if they want to.
Okay, so you give them basically
And
an
Linda's
area that
really
they
good
can
with
do
that
it.
too, so she helps the ladies and anybody's interested to do that.
Sure. Okay. Well, I think that's really neat. So this is a good transition then to let's hear about the business. Let's find out, what are you doing at the gardens? When I call or go out to Brower Gardens, what is it that you guys do?
Well, we start at the beginning and we look at, first of all, we're normally invited to someone's home to take a look and see what their needs are. Take a little, not only a mental inventory, but we'll make a design for them and kind of get a direction to go.
Okay.
We present the plan and work toward a certain goal. And usually that goal has something to do with a master plan and then implementing it as many stages as people wish to do it in. But when you're finished, you shouldn't have to start over again
Okay.
several years down the road.
Okay.
Well, and some people don't want to implement the whole plan at once. And he will help them decide which stages to do first that will be the most pleasing to them, show the most change, and then they'll be able to add to that as they go. And listening to what their lifestyle is, what they want to do, how they want to maintain it, so that it's really fun for them outside instead of a tedious chore of always weeding and trimming and the things that we like to help take care of it, so that they can just go out and pick the flowers and bring them inside or spend time out there.
Sure. I think the curb appeal is very important. I think any realtor will tell you that, it's very important. And I think it's an expression of the homeowner, is what their property looks like from the curb.
Sure.
So it's really neat. You're very artistic.
Thank you.
And I appreciate that very much. Here at the university, when somebody studies business, they know that they're going to learn several things. They're going to learn accounting and management and marketing and finance. They're going to learn about HR and how to control things in business. I have a hard time with it sometimes because I can try to teach you as much as possible in business, but business happens when you actually get out there. And there are things we just can't teach that you have to have your hands on. You've been in business now for 10 years of the gardens, or
It's 8 years.
8 years in the gardens, and so let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, I know that those things have to happen. You have to market it.
Right.
You have to finance it. You have to set the hours. You have to set the pricing. You have to do all of the things that I teach at the university. But I want to hear how you do it, because one of the myths in entrepreneurship is that you can do it all. I wouldn't expect that. When it comes to things like accounting, you don't have to be a great accountant to be an entrepreneur. You need to understand what you need an accountant to do, and you need to know that you've got a good accountant. Same way with all the other parts. You don't have to be a great marketer, but you have to know what works for your business and how you discover that. So let's just talk about how you jumped in there and what the things you've learned.
Well, it seems like that the most important is just listening to the customer and talking things through with them. After we get to the point where it's about dollars and cents, then we turn it over to Linda.
Okay.
We have a
and we
great accountant.
Yeah, we do have a good accountant.
Uh-huh.
And he helps us through a lot of things. But also, when we were getting set up, I was surprised about you can get online, and the state of Indiana really walks you through so many of the things on what you have to do, when you have to file it, and those things were really pretty unnerving. You know, I was always afraid that if we got an audit, what would happen. And
Oh, sure.
and so our account helped us, and I would say we run a lot on common sense. And you know, if you don't have it, then you don't go buy something. And
Right,
we have
right.
a lot of our equipment is older, and some of it's been really, really good to us.
Well, that's important, I think, to keep it up that way. Now, what about things like time? You know, whenever I talk to an entrepreneur, it's interesting because if you're working someplace and they ask you to work 40 hours a week, you know you're working 40 hours a week. A lot of times entrepreneurs, they're so passionate about what they do. You love your business, okay? You probably don't keep track of the hours you work.
No.
But let's say you had to. On an average, how many hours do you think you're working a week?
He's going to lie to you.
I couldn't even tell you.
Because he doesn't think about all he does all the time. I mean, even when he's sitting in the evening, he's jotting down little notes or taking calls.
What's fun about our business is, or for me, is our gardens at our house. When I come home, I don't usually go straight into the house. So I go play in my yard till sun goes down.
Okay.
And so I don't know that you can really put a time on that. Is that really work? I don't know. Not if you're having fun. So
Well, and if he wakes up early, he'll run and go get a load of mulch. And yeah, it would be really hard to.
I think someone said that if you could make a living off something you really love to do, that's half the battle. So half that battle's won.
Yes. Well, I like your answer because, you know, I gave you an opportunity to say 60 hours, 70 hours, and you didn't give me any numbers, which was great because you do exactly what a good entrepreneur does. You love, you're passionate about it. And so you're right. When you come home from your customer's house, you jump out of your vehicle, you work in yours.
Yeah.
It's because yours is inspiring theirs and theirs is inspiring yours. And so you're sharing ideas. And yes, good entrepreneurs do that. I do it here at the university. I work as an entrepreneur here because I get excited about what the students want to learn, and I get excited about what I can teach the students. We share, and
And
there's
it makes
many
you-
late nights, many late nights.
It makes you feel good when they get it.
Absolutely. And you know, that's how we work as entrepreneurs. So same way with you. I'm sure, you know, it's frustrating sometimes when you're thinking Steve's going to come in and this is going to happen and Steve is going to stay in the garden.
Well, or we think we're going to be done, and then someone will say, "Oh, you know what? I like that. Could you continue around the other part of the house?"
Sure.
And so you're staying there a little longer because you want to keep going.
Well, see, that's a part of that art, you know, that we talk about. You know,
And then
it
that
just- it
messes your
grows.
schedule up a little bit too.
Oh, well.
And then there's
But
the
that's
weather.
okay.
I was going to say, I mean, you have to bring up the weather because
Yeah.
it's so fluctuating right now here in the Midwest. It seems
is.
we don't know if we're going to have a drought or a flood.
Yeah.
And it's hard to tell in the summers. In the winters, we don't know when snow is going to come. So,
But the people we work with have been, this year especially, it's been so crazy with all the extra rain, and they've been exceptional because they know we'll get there as soon as we can.
sure.
And they really like that Steve is on the job with us. We've looked at maybe trying to expand and bringing on another crew, but they really like him there, so it's very personal.
Yes. I think that's the good part is having that personal touch. you know, I like the fact that when you call, you're going to answer the phone, and you want to know what's on your mind when you're calling. So that's good.
Yeah.
That's very good. Now, how many people are you employing now?
How many are we employing now? 4, 5, 6, about 7.
Yeah, but some of the people we employ work an hour a week.
okay.
They have a specific job. They're college students. They maybe go to a certain business for us and water or pick up trash, do some maintenance. And then we have 3 people that are pretty close to full-time.
Okay.
So it really varies. We're pretty flexible with the people, but we have people that we know and trust, and some of them just kind of grow up with us.
Good.
We have some college students, and what's fun to hear from them is when they go to the universities or they go different places, they come back and they tell us they weren't mulching very good, or you can't believe how, if I could just get those trimmers away from that guy, I'd show him how to do it.
So they're learning.
So they're
from you.
learning
You can
yeah.
tell
too.
that. Yeah.
Even though that,
Yeah, it's fun for us to
landscaping
hear.
wasn't what they were going to major in,
Sure.
it does, it gets under your skin. You get outside and it grounds you, and you want to mess with it.
But I think that happens in life. I mean, we think we know, and so that's the direction we go. And then as we go that path, we start realizing there's other things. And so we start adapting to it, we change. Your clients are the same way. I'm sure they'll say, Steve, this is what I want here. But then when you take something away and you start adding, they change their mind. And they'll want something totally different there by the end. And that's how we all do, even in our careers.
Maybe. Yeah, I know too.
Well, yeah, sometimes you probably go wrong and you have to fix that.
No, not really, not very often.
Yeah. So what's some of the difficulties you've had in business? Everybody has them.
I would say our biggest difficulty is we don't want to disappoint anybody. And so we schedule or try to schedule, and then we overestimate what we can physically get done.
Okay.
And that would be what I would think is one of our biggest problems.
Okay. You agree with that, Steve, or you have something else?
I would agree with that.
Okay.
And the other problem is that I don't get the billing out in a real timely manner, which, you said this is an entrepreneurial. Thank
yeah.
you. And I would say that is really an important thing to do. But we, we'll get over there, get the job done, and then it'll be a couple of weeks before I get around to getting the billing out.
It's a very important
So-
part of the business.
It's
is getting
such
it.
an important
It
part.
really is. But at the same time, you've got to set priorities, and you've set your priority to make sure the customer's
Is
taken care
happy.
of first. So I totally support what you're saying, and the billing will happen, and as long as it does, that's what's important. Now, your inventory. Are you growing your own? Are you working with others? Are you partnering? Or using distribution?
No,
what are you doing?
what we used to have was a large nursery to pick from. It's no longer there. So what we do now is we've got 4 or 5 different suppliers, and we know what they have.
Okay.
So we'll go and find the highest quality that we can find for our customers. And it's a real benefit because I don't have to take care of them or water them. I go get them. I plug them into the jobs, and it works very well.
Sure, because now you
And
can
if I get
concentrate.
if I get to a place and I see a tree that's not up to snuff, I'll look for another one somewhere else.
Okay.
So that way our customers get the highest quality they can get.
See, I think that's important as well.
is.
Is that a way it gives you a variety to look at as well as,
Sure.
and, they always say don't have all your eggs in one basket. And this way, I mean, if one, provider can't provide this year, you got somebody else the next year.
Yeah.
So I think that's great. And then what about the rewards? What do you guys get excited about? Why are you in business?
What are you excited about?
When you're outside and you're making things look beautiful, and it just feels like, I don't even know how to say it, but you know, the client is excited because their home looks beautiful, and it just feels like it all comes together that way. And the kids that work for us say, you know, well, we've worked here and we've worked there, but at the end of the day, then they're filthy and it's hot and sweaty and dirty, and they're tired, but they're like, I feel so good because everything, I get to make something beautiful. So it's an art.
Being around this area, Wayne County, I've only seen it probably 3 or 4 times in my life, but it's fun to hear people, kids, our customers' children, when they come back to the area they grew up and their parents may not be with them anymore, they say, well, we want to have what Mom and Dad had. And that makes it feel good because it meant something to them at that time, and now it means it's a lifestyle that they chose.
So you're passionate about having your own business, but you're excited about helping others, whether it be the customers, whether it be the employees. So I think that's great.
We love the kids that work with us, and watching them grow and figuring out what they want to go do. And so we work really hard to make sure that if there's a vacation they want to go take with their families, that they have an opportunity to do that.
Okay. Now I'm
And
curious,
it does make it
because
nice.
you've got all these kids working with you, and there's been a shift in how we do things. When it comes to the marketing side of business, used to be we were very much about print and radio, television, newspaper, billboard. And today, so many people are going into the social medias. What's the response here? What's your business looking at on social medias?
We're 1970 people.
Okay.
I mean, we are stuck back there. And yes, we have a computer and we have smartphones, but if you're a really good smartphone user, we would just make you crazy because we don't utilize very many of the things that would be possible. We're word of mouth, and different than starting a brand new business. Since Steve had been in business with the family business for so long, he had a clientele base that loved him. And so we didn't have to go out and try to make a name for ourselves from nothing.
Sure.
And they were very excited that he was still going to be doing it, and with good reason. He's very good at it.
Well, I'm going to come back around to the social media on you, okay? But before I do, I'm going to ask you what the future plans are for Brower Gardens.
We will continue to grow. We do every year. We're not looking to be the biggest, or we want to be the best at each place we go. So,
And I'm guessing the best, meaning the best that you can be.
best that I can be.
Because I think that's what you do. When you run the business the way you're running it, you're hands-on, you're on the job. You're not hiring people and putting them out there. You're out there. So I think that's what you're doing.
And we have, our sons are working with us too. So in Wayne County, that would make the 6th generation in the family business.
Wow, that's great. And they're going to make some changes too.
Well, we'll see about that. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, they will. They will. And we're going to come back to the social media, because here's what I'm thinking. At some point, whether it be your children or your grandchildren, somebody's going to come in and say, okay, we're going to start doing some social media. They're going to start using the Facebook, and they're going to start using some of the social medias that's going to market your business. You
Our
going to be
oldest
okay with
son
that?
has
They
named us.
said, well, look at this. And I go,
So they've already started.
And they'll put pictures sometimes of projects and things we're doing. But the one thing we always want to make sure is they're told they can't put any pictures of social media on a social media unless they have spoken with the client.
Sure.
Because those are they're private backyards.
Right.
And
Right.
we want to ensure that it's kept private for them.
Right, and I respect that, and I think that's great. But they're going to find ways to use it.
Yeah, they will.
And I think that'll be fun and exciting too to see how your
And it's
business
kind of fun to
evolves.
see some of the stuff that's out. My sons will put it in our face. I'll go, wow, you can do that, and
Right, but you could do a rock sculpture, you can do a fountain, you can do a nice, tree arrangement, and nobody have a clue where it's at, and it'd be evident of your work that's on your page.
That's a good
That's
point.
true.
So,
Yeah.
so I mean, it's
we
gonna
might
be
want to hear
interesting.
stuff like that once in a while,
Yeah, it'll feel good.
Yeah.
It will, and it will come. And as the generations of social media continue to evolve, they're coming into your business.
Well, and we've thought about a web page, but then didn't really want to have another job to maintain on something that we know nothing about.
Right.
So maybe we need to,
Somebody in the business, it won't seem like a job to them.
yeah.
Steve likes to go out in his own garden, and they're going to want to jump on their own computer, and they're going to want to do this.
Yeah.
So
think
it's
so.
going to happen for you, and it's going to be exciting. And sixth generation,
6 generations. I'm the 5th, they're the 6th.
that's excellent. You guys doing a great job, and keep doing it. And it's great to know that there's somebody we can call and make our houses beautiful.
Thank you.
So thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
That concludes another episode of In Your Business. Today we spoke with the Browers from Cambridge City area, and they service really a 3-county area around Cambridge City. But the Browers, as you've learned, is now a 5th generation, going on their 6th generation. And it's fun to listen to them and talk to them. They really like to get personal with their business. They're passionate about their business. They love their customer base, and that's why they do it. Their customers are more important to them than their billing, which is remarkable for a small business. Now, the thing that's going to be interesting is to see how they adapt to social media. Not that they have to, but they will. I mean, that's how things have gone, and we make those changes in business as well. And as that 6th generation moves into this business, it's going to be fun to watch and see just exactly what happens, but also to see how the parents respond. That's the neat thing about family businesses. I've worked with a lot of family businesses, and I see resistance in the beginning, I see a transition, and then I see a big, joyous occasion in the end. So it'll be another good one. Thank you again for watching In Your Business.